There is a obvious in my interaction with Canes fans, online, in person, across the whatever, just group chats. There's an obvious, I would say, tense nature. There's a palpable bit of intensity in the air regarding, for different reasons, and I would say for wildly different levels of justification. What is actually okay, that's reasonable and that's unreasonable. 3 different players that have yet to score a goal. But I also want to emphasize this. The Canes are averaging 5 goals a game. Okay? They are not hurting for goals, which makes it so you feel, and I sense this as well, a little ridiculous complaining about any type of goal scoring when your team is 3-0, they're averaging 5 goals a game, and you still can't get that pit out of your stomach. So I'm going to let you know that I'm gonna go like full this is a safe space. You are entitled to your emotions. I'm going to list 3 players that have yet to score a goal for the Carolina Hurricanes. Nikolaj Ehlers, Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov. And the reason why I bring those 3 up and say, why don't you add in Martinook, or why aren't you talking about Kokiniemi, even though he was a healthy scratch last night? The reason for those 3 are I interact with everybody, right? We do first goal scorer predictions. And yesterday I sensed it even before the game. And what I sensed was you don't want to feel crazy. You don't want to act crazy, even when you know you're being crazy. Fans are going like, listen, the Ehlers should be the first goal scorer. Nikolaj Ehlers from Aho, first goal scorer. And then the next prediction from a different fan, Nikolaj Ehlers from Jarvis, first goal scorer on the power play. And I got the sense that everybody was going, I wish Nikolaj Ehlers would just score so I wouldn't have this feeling in my stomach that I'm going like, why isn't he scoring? Is it not working? Does he not fit in? Is it not going to work? He's the big free agency signing. He was the highest paid guy in free agency. He's the big apple of our eye. Why isn't he scoring? Why isn't he scoring? Even though it's 3 games. He's skating with people he's not used to skating with, and he's getting good shots. Right? He's not necessarily completely lost out there. He doesn't look disengaged, but there's still that need. You just want to break the seal. Listen, those 3 guys, I think there's differing levels of justification. Aho, I would say, Aho hasn't scored a goal. Got you. Hear it. Level of panic out of 10, minus 1,000. He has 4 assists. He's well over a point per game through 3, and the team isn't in need of goal scoring right now. If there's one thing I've learned about Aho, and it's why I scream that I want angry Aho, I want Sebastian Aho to be a bit more selfish. I talk about that avocado selfishness, right? The stuff, selfishness is usually bad, but a little bit of it is good. Like fats are usually bad, but that avocado fats, for some reason, it's good. The reason why I want the Sebastian Aho avocado selfishness is because so often you get to overtime or you get to a tie game late and he's the one scoring, and I'm going like, okay, you're when it's needed, you turn it on, right? It hasn't been needed, right? And obviously they needed an overtime goal, and he's the one that assisted to Jarvis, and they got the overtime goal. So I'm giving him credit for that. Aho, 0 panic, less than 0. Ehlers, I don't know, neutral, right? If you want to hold your breath until he scores his first goal, it's because it's new, right? It's because it's new. It's no different than you got a new shirt and you love it and you're wearing it around and you just want somebody to say, hey, nice shirt. Doesn't actually mean you look better in it, but it just makes you feel better. The Canes brought in Nikolaj Ehlers. That supposed elusive final piece of that top line. You wanted it, you got it. You just want it to work. You want it to be awesome. I'm trying to think of another example. It's like getting a new umbrella and then you go on like a drought. You're not mad that it's not raining, but you kind of want to use the umbrella, right? It's like you're not mad that the team isn't scoring, but you kind of want to see Ehlers score. You're still happy, he's still working, you're still undefeated, but you kind of want to see Ehlers score. And then Svech, I would throw Svech, you're like a 3 out of 10. And not because of the 3 games here, because postseason Svech was great, but last season we were already building up some concerns with how effective or ineffective he had been. So now starting off this year the way he has, and there was some line shuffling yesterday where he and Taylor Hall flipped. There's so like even within a game that you felt like you were in pretty good control of, Rod is feeling a little bit of like, hey, something needs to shake up here, right? Let's nothing good, nothing bad. Let's just shake it up. Let's switch it up. That is a little bit of confirmation that it's like, oh, we're getting last year's regular season Svech rather than last year's postseason Svech, right? So the reason why I brought up all 3 and the reason why I pointed out that there's different levels of justification is through 3 games, there's a million different things going on, right? And it could just be the way the games broke, could just be the way the cookie crumbled. You have to look at every game, every situation as if it's its own beast, right? Aho has 4 points. He doesn't have a goal. He will. Ehlers has a handful of good shots and a handful of opportunities where if he were a half step earlier, half step later, he would have had a really good shot. Or if the person he passed it to was a half step earlier, half step later, maybe they score and he gets the assist, or they get it back to him with a little give and go, and it's those things are going to happen. The spin zone, if I were trying to talk any of you out of your panic, is that 3 of your top scorers, definitely 2 of your top scorers, haven't scored a goal yet. And you're scoring a lot of goals.
Yeah.
That's,
like I said, 5 goals a game.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. That's the best case scenario. You're winning games, and there's an obvious, super likely thing to happen, which is those 3 guys are going to start finding the back of the net in some form or fashion. It can get better from here. And yeah, I don't know if you should bank on like Walker and Carrier suddenly being, every couple of games they're going to find the back of the net. But if they want to, and if those lines are working, and if those opportunities arise, that's fine. Winning is obviously the most important. I do think Aho looks around and he kind of figures out what the game needs and does that. And he's looked around the past few and gone, oh, we're scoring all right. I don't need to be selfish here. I'm just going to keep setting everybody up. I think he's still working with Ehlers. Last point I'll make is this. They're all, meaning the top line, Aho, Jarvis, Ehlers. Super high hockey IQ, right? Super high vision. I don't think it's a surprise that the Jarvis 3 goals have all come late in games and in overtime. Mm-hmm. Because I do think there is a early in game urgency by Aho to figure it out with Ehlers. So there's a lot of attention going over there. Let's see where he likes it, a lot of observation. Then once the game, like, oh, the cards are down, it's time to go do something. He was like, I'm going to work with Jarvis over here where I know we're pretty darn good. And they scored. I'm more optimistic now than I was at the beginning of the year. And I think if you would have asked me 3 games ago before the opener, if Aho and Ehlers don't score at all in the first 3, are you going to be more confident? I would have said probably not. I would have said I'd be indifferent, hopefully, right? I wouldn't be panicking. But I'm more confident now than I was at the beginning of the year.
Well, you and I talked about it before Game 1. We're sitting outside the Lenovo Center praising about how this team has a bunch of depth. They have depth throughout their lineup. We talked about how with the quote-unquote 4th line that features Eric Robinson and Taylor Hall, I remember saying it, that line should cook. And guess what? They're scoring a whole bunch. You shouldn't be upset that the whole lineup is contributing in some way, shape, or form. And also, Tim, playoffs start in 6 months.
Correct.
6 months. You got 6 months to figure this out.
6 months to figure it out.
6 months.
And let me think of the best way to put this. You want to observe. You don't even want to start trying to figure it out yet.
Yeah.
Like right now you're just learning, right?
That's all it is.
It's every season is its own new beast. And I use this example all the time. When like a new boss takes over a business and they come in and go, I'm not making any changes for the first 6 months. I just want to see how you guys operate. I want to see the day-to-day. I'm not going to come in and fire anybody or restructure anything. I'm just trying to get to know the business. To me, that's like the first month of this season for the Canes. Before you start making any, you can shuffle, for the second half of a game, Taylor Hall and Svech and flip them or whatever. But to me, you're not even really trying to make changes or anything. You're just learning. I'm just here observing. I'll be in the corner with a notebook. Don't mind me. Of course, everybody's on their best behavior because the new boss is watching. But they're trying to get you to just go in the day-to-day. That's where I'm at with the Canes. And if along the way you want to win like 80% of your games, then even better. The more the merrier, right? Go ahead. Keep it rolling. Yeah, you're right. Ehlers hasn't scored, but Hall, Robinson, and Miller each have 2. Gostisbehere scored. Blake scored. Stankoven scored. Carrier scored. Walker scored. Stahl scored. Like, you're doing okay. And a bunch of them have multiple points, too, and you had Italian assists.